This is the 2023 Ducati Panigale V4S. Designed to push the envelope some more by tapping into the learnings, the success that Ducati has enjoyed in MotoGP. So now this one makes 215.5 horsepower. That's 1.5 horsepower more than the previous bike. And that's down to a new oil pump, and the exhaust now has a slightly bigger outlet to reduce the back pressure. And if that's not enough, you can get the exhaust that Ducati has developed with Akrapovic, titanium one, which then gives you another 12.5 horses, another 7.4 Newton meters of torque, and reduces the weight by 5 more kgs, which then restricts this 228 horsepower missile to just 190.5 kgs. Now, while you digest that, here's the thing. This was actually not the focus of Ducati when they developed the new Panigale. In fact, they wanted to make it easier to ride and easier to put the power down. How have they done that? Well, start off with the engine. Now you have 4 different power maps. You have low, medium, high and full. So low is what restricts the horsepower to 150 HP. Then you have medium and high, which give you access to full power, but the maps are softer in the first 3 gears. And then you have the full power mode, which gives you access to all the mayhem, albeit with a softer map just in the first gear. Then you have revised gear ratios. This is again something which they have learned from the highly successful World Superbike V4R. You get the same exact gear ratios, which is the first, second and sixth gears are now longer, which helps put the power down easier in tighter corners and also increase the top speed by 5 kilometers per hour is what Ducati is claiming. Then you also get a completely new dash, especially in the race mode. You get this new dash which has the tachometer at the top. You have the gear indicator in the center, nice and big. You have all the electronic aids stacked up on the right, which give you real-time information about which aid you're using the most. And of course, you have the top speed on the left. And that's just the engine. There are a whole lot of other changes which have happened in terms of ergonomics and the fairing. So on that front, you have a new seat which is flatter, which allows you to scoot back that much more and tuck in properly, especially on the straights. You have an all-new tank which is now 17 liters instead of 16 liters on the previous model. But more importantly, the shape is completely different now. As you can see, this one allows you, this has been designed to help you properly anchor yourself under hard braking. But at the same time, it still offers you a lot of freedom of movement, especially when you're leaning the bike from one side onto the other. At the front, you have all new Olin semi-active NPX 2530 forks, which have pressurized damping system. And you also have 5 extra mm of travel. This time around, Ducati have gone with softer springs at the front to generate more feel, feedback and grip at the front end. At the back, you still continue to have the TTX 36 semi-active shock. Then another thing which you can notice is of course the wings, but these ones are now lighter and compact, while at the same time still generating 37 kg of downforce, just like the previous one at over 300 kilometers an hour. And then the fairing too, as you can see, is all new. You have cutouts now on the side as well as at the bottom for better cooling. And also this part right here has been completely redesigned so that you have more room for your elbows when you're properly tucked in. Then at the back, the swing arm pivot is now up by 4 mm to enhance the anti-squat effect, which Ducati tells us will help in keeping the bike stable in all the phases of when you're opening the throttle. And then to top it all, you of course have Ducati's extensive list of electronic aids, which have again been updated to help you put all of this power down in a more confident manner. And there's only one place on earth where you can unleash such a monster in a safe environment: the Buddh International Circuit. I distinctly remember riding the V4 when it first came out in Valencia, and yeah, that was an insane experience because we were not used to that kind of performance. But then it was also a bike which was notoriously difficult to ride. It was very physical. You had to be at a MotoGP level or Valia's level to be able to get the most out of it, especially when it got going. Then in 21, Ducati of course made a step, but now with this one, they have taken the game to a whole new level. So already on the braking front, this had insane equipment in terms of you had the Stylema caliper, you had twin 330mm discs, but the biggest difference now has been made by the tank. As you're able to hold the bike so much better, you know, there's not as much input going onto the handlebars, so the bike stays a lot more stable. And that's the highlight of this motorcycle, to be honest. There's very little drama. You have so many things helping you out. You have phenomenal stopping power, you have really sticky rubber. You have these wings now which you can experience the downforce. You can feel the front tire really digging in when you're getting onto the brakes and dropping the anchor. I mean, you literally have to force this to now get out of shape, which you can using by putting the ABS in cornering, ABS2, which allows you to also slide the rear while still keeping it under control. Always with the old generation Panigale V4s, the one thing which I really miss compared to conventional Japanese superbikes was front end feel. It always felt a little bit vague, but now ever since they've gotten the front frame, the aluminium frame with the flexi one which we first saw on the V4R, and then you have that little bit of more travel, that has really gone a long way in helping you really understand what's happening at the front. You have much more feel, you have much better feedback, especially when you're trail braking into a corner. And the result is, I don't think I've ever gone this fast into a corner at any of these corners on a Panigale before. The confidence it inspires in corner entry is unbelievable. And that's not even the party trick. The party trick is what happens in the middle of the corner. Because that's where the second generation engine braking control really kicks in, because the way it works is when you're first braking really hard on the straight when the bike is upright, most of the weight is at the front. Yeah, that's when the engine braking doesn't really kick in full force. It only kicks in when the rear is down and when you're going closer to the apex of the corner. That's the point also, let's say in a corner like T5, is when you're done braking and you're waiting for a couple of seconds before getting on the gas to exit. The previous generation Panigale at that point of time would start running wide, which then forced you to keep trail braking the bike a little bit longer and losing speed. But now in this case, as soon as you let go of the brakes, you can still feel the bike, you know, pulling inside, holding a tighter line. And that was unbelievable. I've never seen this thing turn as beautifully as it does. Also in terms of agility, this one, like the previous versions, have the forged rims. This one gets the counter-rotating crank. But now I think the difference has also been made with the new wings, which are lighter, more compact, which also means that the agility, you know, they have less effect on the agility of the motorcycle. This is still not as agile as, say, the S1000RR, which is a lot more compact and really quick on its feet, especially with the carbon fiber wheels. But this one definitely takes a lot less effort to put the bike into a corner and also leading it from one side onto the other. The changes they have made also in terms of the swing arm pivot being 4mm higher, and the biggest change there which you feel is in the tighter corners. This one now I feel is a lot stable. It's much easier to get on the gas because the weight transfer from the front to back is a lot more balanced. And of course then you have the longer first and second gear, which really helps you, exit tighter corners in a much more stable manner. The bike moves around a lot less, which means you can get on the gas much quicker. I cannot talk about the 6th gear and the gains they have made at the top end, because the bike after 300 kilometers just does dash, right? So you can't really find out what speeds you're actually doing. But yeah, the bike did feel a lot stronger up top. Also talking about small details, This one has slightly more cornering clearance, which is another reason why you don't end up grazing the pegs as quickly, which means again, then you can carry a lot more speed into corners. And all of these small things that they have done together, the cumulative effect is the Panigale V4 has never been this friendly to ride. It is still a freaking monster when you ride it in the full power mode, where you only have the soft map in the first gear, and then after that all hell breaks loose. Then it still becomes a lot more difficult to manage, but again, compared to the previous iterations, it's still very manageable. Where can it improve? I feel it can definitely do with tank grips, because even though tank really helps you under braking, after you're done braking really hard, let's say after the back straight, when you're entering the corner, I found myself not in the best attack position for that corner, and I had to reposition myself. The seat height now has gone up by another 15 mm, so now it stands at 850 mm. So let's say if you are 5 feet 8 or shorter, this might be quite a climb. And lastly, of course, is the price. This one now, the V4S, will put you back by 33 lakhs. That's a 5 lakh rupee hike over the previous model, and about 8.5 lakhs more than the new BMW S1000RR M Pro Sport. So yeah, undoubtedly this is an awful lot of money, and there'll be very few people who can actually go ahead and afford this. But again, in many ways, that's exactly the target audience that Ducati is looking out for. People who are enthusiasts, who spend a lot of their time here on a racetrack, a place like BIC, where you can truly exploit these machines. And in this arena, I think there are very few other superbikes which can come anywhere close to this level of performance, and also now having a bike which is this easy to ride. I mean, I'll go as far as saying that today, if I am in the market looking to purchase a bike that I can race on, this would undoubtedly be it.